Hey there, it's Chris. Welcome back to the Kai Shulin project, where last time we finally started adding some color to this, and although we got a number of things wrong on the color sides, we also unintentionally got a number of things right, which is kind of interesting. So we did three separate color schemes. We had kind of the leather on the bottom, we have the skin tone, and we have the hair. Now the skin tone was intentionally made pink to kind of symbolize the capillaries and whatnot in the hands, and we're going to put ultimately, I'm thinking I'd be just the natural buff on top when I get to that. I'm just going to do a top layer in that. When it came to kind of, I keep saying the yoga pants, but the under layer of the pants there, uh, I'd done like 4 or 5 parts gray with 1 part of the mocha color, and somehow the mocha took over, which is wrong for this. However, if you look on the side, and we come back to our cloak, which I think I'm going to go actually with the autumn color on this. I apologize for the hands. I was staining stuff outside earlier today, and some of that stain just doesn't want to come off. So it's just we're gonna deal with that. But if you look at the inside of the cloak over here, this actually doesn't look too bad for that. So I did save the color, so I'm just gonna do the inside of the cloak with that color. And yes, it was a mistake, but we can use that mistake, and we're gonna go from there. As for the hair, I do like the hair color. However, if we come back to this image, not only is this that color, although this is actually looks like it's halfway in between what's on this side and the other ones, which are blacker. And I'm okay with that. That's not the best image to use. Yeah, so we're not quite there in terms of darkness, and we're not quite here in terms of light. So I think, actually I might just add just a touch of brown, kind of make it just a hair lighter. But anyway, not only is the hair that color, we get to the hat, the trim work on the hat, you can see going up and down. The ear flaps is that color. The strip that goes around the front here is that color. This lining on the front of the hat is that color. So the hair color gets brought into the hat for some of its detailing. And not only that, at the same time, it also looks like it comes down into this trim color as well. Because this doesn't look like it's the same as the leathers on the bottom. So I think this just feels, the trim work here feels a little lighter than the other down there. So I'm going to do these trims as well in that same hair color. So I wasn't looking at those before, but it seems like things are happily working out in my favor at this point. So without further ado, let's actually get to doing some things, because we are now 3 minutes in. So let's start with our kind of tannish mocha-y gray. I still am amazed that the gray just like disappeared, considering the quantities of each I put into this. But let's just start with you. And we don't need to be neat. I can just use a big old brush on this, because we're just doing everything in here. And again, if this doesn't seem right, it's only a first coat on this part. You can always change it. Am I even on camera? Let me move that out of the way so I can kind of move this a little more centered, so you can see all the hot action that's going on here. So I'm not sure I'm going to get to the skin tone. I think that's actually going to be the last thing on the list of the day. And even then, I'm not sure I want to do that today, because if I were to take, I know that arm doesn't like to come off. If we take this arm, we can see we have the strap that comes around, and then there's that little bit of red of the shirt area here that kind of comes over it, or the arm, whatever, warmer things. So it might be easier to do that little bit of red down here first, because I'm almost guaranteed to hit the arm with that, get at least a coat on there, and then I can kind of finish off the rest of the arm and the rest of the kind of skin tone at that point. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of for that at this point in time. And there we go. I was like about to say, arm, get in there. You can do it. Yeah, otherwise I just think, yeah, I'm now all but sure I'm gonna be doing the fall colors on this. It is what the inspiration image was that I'm kind of taking everything off of anyway, and I think overall it's a more pleasing to the eye color scheme for me than the other one. So I think I'm just gonna go with it. Again, that's gonna be a little later on down the road, but it's good to prepare for that. All right. Okay. We are. I was about to say slowly getting this done. We're actually very quickly getting this done. This is not a time-consuming thing. That's going to be the nice part when you come to the actual camouflage side itself. It's really only two. Okay, there are a couple shades. The shades of red and the shades of tan. But of these shades of red on the chevron part, there are only two colors in there. Of the shades of tan, there are only two colors in there being used. So basically just do a wash of one coat over everything. Then it's really only the detail part on top of it that becomes issues. So quantity-wise, it's actually not that bad. Quantity-wise, it's actually not that bad. And I'm going to do this coat, then I'm going to come back and do the gray, try to redo the gray on her so I can give this some time to dry. Because if you look at the image, if you look at this, the lines and the detail on the front, they also do the same thing on the back. So I didn't model the ones on the back, but I do need to paint that part. So I'm going to give this some time to dry, and then it's one of those, if I get to it today, that's awesome. If I don't get to it today, then it just is what it is. We will get to it next time. Besides, I believe brown is going to be one of those that's going to take a number of coats. I don't think 2 coats is going to do this. I can all but guarantee 2 coats is not going to do it. So we're going to be coming back to that brown a couple times over. And I think it's a small enough element that that one I can kind of do a couple coats on camera. And actually we're going to have probably the same color comes all the way up here. We'll see. I might do this the actual camouflage color. We'll see in the end how I feel about that. But right now we're just going to treat everything inside here as if it is this color. And this is also why I mix as much paint as I do. A, it gives me something to kind of stir in there. And B, if you do need it for other things, if you do need to come back much later on, whatever, we still have something to go off of. Which is sometimes super helpful. Because this was just one of those unexpected happy coincidences that it seems like it's a workable color for this. All right, did I get everywhere? I think so. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, put that down there. We can go put you back in plastic, which, as we learned on the Bang one, this stuff can stay in plastic for over a week and still potentially be good. So shouldn't be an issue. I'm going to be finishing the inside of that probably next time. So we'll do a final coat next time. How long did that take? Just a couple minutes. Okay, let's go dry that off. Give me 1 sec. I want to get this all good. And we're going to go and try to get this grayer, but not 100% gray. Because it would be nice to have that work in the end. Alright, so what do I need? I need you back there. Let's get some more cups over here. Let's get our gray going. We're going to... Once again, we have our light gray. I think Darkness wise, we're all right. Just a couple drops are all I need. Oh, don't go any more than that. All right. This is going to be far grayer. It should just be just a slight off. Maybe that's why. Maybe this gray just doesn't feel like it's a super gray. Let me just add a drop or something of this in here as well. That. Let me actually shake the white so I don't just have water coming off the top. Might be good. Okay. Yeah, I get the feeling this gray did not start off particularly gray. But this will definitely be more so than the first coat. That's for sure. Alright, let's see here. Head can come off, and that goes to the side. Don't need that. Well, arms can stay on there, why not? Okay, let's do a take two. This time with hopefully less fail. Alright, we're definitely grayer. We're definitely grayer than we were on the first. I think I need to move the cup slightly closer to me so I can see when I actually load up a brush and I'm ready to go. What's also going to help is this will be less blotchy too. So even if it's not the right color, it's going to look better just because of a blotchiness factor. Of course, I'm doing the smallest little part here first, so we don't really see the blotchiness part as much in this particular area, but believe me, it is there. Okay, so what do we have? Now we have kind of the inside of the knee. We're going to get this to work. Color doesn't look like it changed at all, even though I know it 100% did. But that's fine. Oh no, it definitely changed. Never mind. Never mind, it definitely changed. Alright, there we go. It's better. It's still not right, but it's better. So I might just go and do the hair color, come back, maybe just try one more time on this by the end, or I might just... Actually, by the time I get the trim stuff on the hair color done, I think that's going to be the session. And maybe off camera I'll come maybe just do a straight gray on this and see if it really was just the gray just not being a good gray. Because that's entirely possible too. Sometimes you just get a mix of color that it just isn't quite right. And I'm getting the feeling this didn't start as a perfect kind of gray. And so when I add a little bit of something to it, it just exacerbates problems. Although now that it is drying better. It is drying a little better, so we'll see. Colors are hard sometimes. What can I say? Sometimes colors are hard. That's it. At least it's not that much real estate I have to cover here. So this should be pretty quick. And then when we get to the hair part and the trim work, that's probably going to take a little while. Because there's quite a bit of that has to be done. Alright, almost there. We're not going to do that part this time. No, we learned. Look at the drawings. We get it right. That's how it goes. I am being super quiet this time again. It's just what it is. Don't have a whole lot going on at work that's kind of worth talking about. We're at a stalling point on the main project we're working on, so we're kind of going into handyman mode for a little while until we get through certain things and certain other kind of crews come in and do their job. So what has been on one project for the better part of the last several months, we're now going to go into, we've had kind of a backlog of more smaller kind of 1-2 day handyman kind of jobs that come up, so we're going to be cranking some of those out, which is good because that means we'll get these little things done before like the holidays really start. So that will be nice because everybody wants their stuff done before the holidays. Nobody wants to start things before holidays. They want to be finished by holidays. But it sounds like it's mostly kind of rotten windowsills and stained ceilings and stuff like that. The kind of easier stuff to take care of. So the handyman things are nice. I have to say, I do enjoy. They're good for a short while because again, when you get the bigger projects, sometimes you just feel like you're there almost like too long. You know how long a project takes, and clients know how long it is until they kind of start going through and realizing how long things go. And so at least the nice thing with handyman kind of ones where you're in there for like a day or two is you just kind of get in, you get your stuff done, and that's it. You leave. Everyone's happy. Everyone's nice and quick. Nobody overstays welcomes. It's just in, out, done. The only downside of doing those is when you have to do problem solving, you can't like say, okay, I have a list of 5 things I need to do, so I'm going to do like options 1 through 4, and while I'm doing them, I'll kind of try to figure out number 5. And by the time I get to it, we're good to go. It's like, no, you're into like the handyman stuff. You got to figure your stuff out right away. People, you show up and you didn't answer to stuff like instantly. So they can be the fun ones in that regard. You're on your toes kind of the whole time. Because usually we have a number of like kind of repeat clients and whatnot, so they'll put together like a list of like maybe 5-10 things they want you to do. They might be like little 5-10 minute things on the list, but they'll give you a quantity of stuff that'll like wind up taking up a day or two to do. And yeah, sometimes you never know what's gonna hit until you get to the point, or until you get to the project. Or at least I don't know what I'm gonna hit until I get to the project. It's like, oh, we need to do X, Y, and Z. And wasn't mentally ready for that, but my truck is prepared. It is a clown car of tools again. The one downside of handyman things is, or the one nice thing with doing a larger project, you can leave your tools on the project. Can't do that now. I need everything there, so I have a literal clown car worth of tools at the moment, which is both good and bad. I'm not really sure which. Okay, anyway, that's now has another coat. And I think that's going to read better once I get the black on there. But we'll see. It's definitely grayer than it was, for sure. So I'll take that. All right, we got that cleaned out. 1 second while I do stuff with brush. Okay, now comes the fun one. Now I need to put that in plastic. And the trick is going to be remembering which gray goes with which. So you know what? I'm just going to store this on a little coffee table or side table to the side of me. And where'd the head go? Head is over here. Okay. So let's just do this hair. Let's get the main hair stuff first. I think getting the main hair done first might be nice. Is this the brush I was... Oh, I have so many brushes out here. That's the one I was going to use. Yeah, so... Although... in the time it takes to do the hair, the first part might be dry. So you know what, let's go and actually see if we can do this nicely. Because yeah, if I finish things off in a reasonable time, again, it's not going to matter too much if I get things in places they shouldn't be. Still don't want to, but because once we get to, you know what? Nope. Button. Okay, because once we get to that, once we get kind of like that little red part on the side of the hat, it will cover anything that kind of hits. And you see I'm using my pinky to try to hold my hand steady as I do this. I'm doing whatever I can to kind of keep steady. And if I'm not talking, that means I am kind of concentrating. Because this kind of needs it. Actually, it looks a little better just having that little thing there. Little things like that do make a nice visual difference. All right. Ran out of paint on the brush by the end, but I think that's in there. Do I have... Let's see, do we have an image? Nope, that's not going to help. No, I'm turning that off, I'm turning that off. The layers... Okay, give me 1 second here. The image on my computer screen might be perfect size for you to see things. It is too small for me, so... What do we have going on the inside? Okay, so we just have... Got it, we do want to have a painted line. Things on my screen. So I just want to neaten up this line on the inside. Okay, so that's that. It has a little bit there. there, and that already looks better. Not gonna lie, that already makes a difference. Okay. Oh, this is going to be a very silent kind of a session because there is a lot of actual paying attention I have to do to this. So I hope you are prepared. Just to prepare you a little mentally right now, it's probably going to be a little more quiet than it usually is. And thankfully, I mixed actually quite a bit of this brown, so I should have enough to do as many coats as is warranted for it. I'll get my finger over there. Actually, I mixed quite a bit of this. I don't know why I mixed this much, but don't know why I mixed it, but I'm sure glad I did. And here's where high school me would have no idea how I'm doing this right now, because I did not have a steady hand. I still remember just doing the chemistry classes. I couldn't get the pipettes into the little kind of. You always watch on TV, it's like boop, 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 kind of taking things out of one dish, putting another, and I did not have a steady enough hand to do that at all. Now look at me. Now I'm doing this type of stuff. It is amazing how times change. That said, I haven't tried doing any of those pipettes or syringes and stuff like that since, so maybe, who knows, maybe I'm still just as bad at that particular application. Hey. Oh, itch, itch, itch. Okay. Alright, so as we did on one side, we need to do on the other. And thankfully this is a carved element, so I can just let the bristles of the brush just kind of follow the carving that we did. I should say sculpted element. It wasn't carved. There's definitely an element that was carved. It wasn't this. Now, I haven't looked at the rifle colors. Rifle may also have some other things in here. I really haven't looked at any of the accessory kind of colors. So, we'll see when we get to the rifle and the ammo stuff and, well, really those two things and what colors they actually kind of go with. Because who knows, they might also kind of have the same kind of color grouping. I can wipe some of that off. That goes underneath, goes up and around. Now we just need to make it look kind of neat as it comes around here. Oh yeah, we are definitely concentrating more on this than I have in previous sessions. And that's all you're going to hear for like the next half hour is I'm concentrating. Look at me. But some areas are worth it. Okay, and on the inside we just basically need to neaten this up a little bit. That worked out pretty okay. That worked out pretty okay. All right. Actually, the hat itself isn't even done. The brim had some stuff I had to do with it. There we go, we got that. The brim also needs the outline. But this now makes it definitely feel more like the hat. I hadn't planned on doing this part until after I'd done the other color, but kind of the light tan. So maybe next time I'm going to add that light tan to the mix. We're just going to get this whole, kind of cross this hat area off the list. That might not be a bad thing. Where can I hold this? I need to be able to hold this so I can keep it steady, keep a steady hand, while also keeping the fingers out of the way. Alright, we're almost there with this. Then there's going to be just one more part of this after. Yeah, one more port. I'm porting this thing over something. Now we do have this little piece. Alright, so we got that. And same kind of dealy down here. Let's go and make this look presentable. That said, we are not going to do the final coat until after the tan is done, for sure. Because this really should be... I'm doing this somewhat out of order. I just have... It's one of those I got excited. I have the paint. I want to get a coat on this part just because I have this paint for it. But it is not 100% ready for this. That said, the hair itself... Sure. Hair itself I can do with this. We're going to be able to cross that off the list. At least I'd like to cross it off the list, but part of me is still saying this is not going to cover super well. But we'll see. I might have just had very kind of bad experiences with Bang and Rain and Cat. The only 3 models I've actually painted. Yeah, I think all of them had issues. Could have just been coincidence. That's all. That's alright. That's alright. This coat is looking a whole lot better than it was the first time. And that's all that matters. And again, subsequent coats, if I need to do more coats of this brown on the hair, I can do that off camera. You will then have now seen the 2 coats where you kind of get a big visual difference quickly. And any subsequent coats, they may still make a difference, but it's not going to be as bam in your face kind of difference as this is. Also, I can't see my watch, so I have no idea what time this is at this point. It kind of fell over behind my paintbrushes, and oh well to that. I'm quasi wondering if the tan that I'd put down on the under of that would actually work on the hat. I think probably not. Probably not. I think that's going to need to be a whole different color in the end. Now I feel like I'm whispering. I need to have energy. We need to. I need to protrude confidence when I do this. It's great. It's awesome. I can also challenge you if you're watching this and wondering why I'm floundering trying to find stuff to say to try to speak for like an hour straight about some topic after you've done. I think this is now like the 110th episode that I have on my channel. And eventually you kind of start running out of certain topics to talk about because you've beaten them to death already. So, or at least in the small talk category. And there's not much happening, not much new stuff happening now that's going on. I believe this is going out on, is this Thursdays or is this Saturday's session that goes out? I forget now if this is going to come out before or after Halloween. Right now, as I'm doing this, this is the Friday before Halloween. So, that hasn't yet come to pass. After spending like 3 weeks or so, or maybe even more than that, it was since before the Ultra I did, where I was kind of, I would record a session, it would go up that night. I would record a session, it would go up that night. I would record a session, it would go up that night. I finally got myself a week ahead again. So I kind of banged things out last week to try to get myself to a point where I'm no longer. So now I kind of forget when things are actually going out. So in any event, whether this is going out on the Thursday or Saturday, if you haven't remembered already, remember to change the clocks on Saturday night. It's that time of year. So longest day of the year kind of feels really early. I know it's always the first weekend in November, and which means it's pretty much the literal first day it can possibly be, considering Halloween itself is on a Friday. But yeah, remember to do that. Might be kind of helpful if you have stuff to plan for. All right, and once again, I think I got all the stuff. And I can almost guarantee then I have not. There's still going to be something white showing on here somewhere. I see a little spot right there. Okay, let's put you down. I might as well finish off this hair, then I'll come back and do the detailing on the whatchamacallit, the cloak. I mean, I have the hair going. I might as well just go with it. Get that part done. Even if most of this is not going to be seen. But still, we're going to do it anyway. Then again, we're painting the shirt red, and for the most part, that's probably never going to be that way. If for no other reason, then if I really like the rifle that I made, I'm still super happy with that, and I want to showcase it. And without the cloak, the rifle itself doesn't balance on her shoulder. So if I want to showcase that, she has to be wearing the camouflage. And put the camouflage on, we're never going to see the red shirt or subsequent under stuff pretty much again. So it will be there, but we'll know it's there. And that's what matters. Nobody else may know that much detail is put in, but we'll know it was done. almost done with this part of the hair. Oh no, I got stuff on the ear before. Didn't even see that before. Oh well. Stuff like that does happen. I don't like seeing it because it makes me feel like I failed. But we're not on final coats. It's not going to have any kind of lasting effect on anything. So in that regard, it's okay. And once I get this part of the hair done, I'm going to re-grab my watch back again so I have some idea of where we are time-wise. It's one of those, I know what I want to get done today, and I just want to make sure I have the time to do it. And don't start an element way too late and then not have time to finish it. Because any element I start on painting, I want to finish. So if I'm doing like brown hair kind of color, I want to be able to finish this brown hair kind of color stuff. Well, that went a little thicker than you had to, but that's okay. All right, we have that. I can put her off to the side. And now we come out to detailing you, and we are 41 minutes in. All right. So let's see, how can we do this on camera and make it work? Thankfully, these are actually a little bit wider, so it's not as bad trying to get this to work. Nice. It's when it gets super skinny is when things can get a little bit harder. This has at least a little bit of width to it. And I did carve these, or sculpt these with a little bit of a 3D element, so I need to get the side of it done. Let's not get brown over there. Although this whole thing's going to be tan in the end anyway, so if I do get brown on it, this is kind of the element to mess up if I'm going to. Let's be honest. Alright, I get the feeling this part is not going to be done by the end of this session. Strange feeling. But there is a lot of scroll detail-y work that goes into this. And just as that had a 3D element, this has a 3D element to it as well on this side. So we do need to bring this down and around. Which you couldn't see any of. Okay, and apparently some of the inside paint didn't dry 100%. Awesome. I'm getting stuff on my fingers when I really don't want to. Not that you can tell which of these now is the brown paint on my fingers and which is the brown from staining the cedar siding stuff that I did earlier. There was rotten windowsills we had to take out and fix up, so got it fixed, got it waterproofed, put all the stuff on, so this was the final make it look good phase. I love that terminology. I use that all the time when I get to the end of the project. It's like, client asks, what are you doing today? And I get to the end of the project, it's like, well, today we just make things look good. We make all the stuff we just built for like the last several days, the last several weeks, the last several months, whatever the time frame is. We're at the stage of we got to make those elements look good. And just saying that seems to get the point across pretty well for pretty much everyone I've worked with. Brings a smile to their face. That's what matters. Yes, we're hired to build stuff. But at the end of the day, we're we're hired to keep a client happy at the end of the day. We're brought into a project to build stuff, but need to make a client happy. So if you can say something in a way that makes them smile or makes them feel good, that's what counts. All right, well, as long as I can get enough of this part done to look like something during this session, I'm going to feel good. And if I can do most of this on camera as well, and not accidentally be doing things 100% off camera when I think I'm on camera, that is all the better. Because I feel like the smaller elements aren't too hard to keep in focus. So when I get to this, a couple of them like this big guy and the legs are the two where I really do need to kind of be careful and make sure things are pointed the right direction. All right, I'm not going to do the inside trim work on this yet. We're going to save that for another time. I already don't have enough. I already know I don't have enough time this session to get everything done anyway. So we're going to sacrifice that little detail part and do that one at another time. And kind of opposed to the hat details, I'm kind of happy I'm doing this one sooner rather than later, because just getting these inside edges is super hard to do neatly without getting kind of paint everywhere. So this one is nice just to get at least a coat done before I get to the actual camo stuff. Although the actual camo stuff is probably going to be the very last painting thing being done. Because at the same time, you want to have that big reveal in the end, like, ta-da! It's finished, yay, kind of deal. So there will be some of that going on. Although it also means this is looking a little in terms of quality wise here. I see it doesn't look like the neatest cut in just because it's such a skinny side part. I am getting paint on some areas where I don't want it to be, but when we do the next part, it will get cut in nice and life will be good. Alright, gonna get all this little button stuff on here. Make sure we get all the clasps. I do enjoy this painting phase. This is probably the most, this is like the part I feared the most before doing any of the models. Like I said, it took me like a dozen models before I started painting anything, because I was just afraid of you get the wrong colors, it doesn't look right, everything kind of looks plasticky if you don't get it quite right. But once I got over that hump and finally did one, I think I do enjoy this part the most. It's kind of the most relaxing. I don't need to worry about so many things. If anything goes wrong, you know it's just paint in the end. It can always be redone. So there's a little less fear factor on that. There's a little less kind of thinking and planning. It's just kind of a do kind of obsession. Yes, there's a little bit of figuring out what colors you want to use on something, but at the end of the day, it's generally just kind of you just do. This is going to be fun to put together right at the very end of the session. Should have at least some kind of difference. from this time and the previous. Even if this is just a lot of little detail kind of scroll work. 50 minutes. And believe me, I'm not counting down like, oh, like, all right, thank goodness, only 10 minutes to go. I'm going 50 minutes. Crap. Where did the time go? I feel like I've done nothing. It's been all this little scroll stuff, which is super important to get done. It is just a mini little time sink. But like the hat part, I do think it does make it look better. That one for sure made it look better. That just brought everything together. Like I said, I think next time we'll probably figure out the skin tone. And I do want to get that kind of tan on the hat going. I do want to finish that. Well, we put a little too much on that one, but that's okay. It was bound to happen. Paint just got where paint didn't want to get to. Maybe go a little further on the side. I see a little side white I don't want to see. Alright, we have this goes up. Yeah, but next time I'm just gonna maybe just kind of get these two sides on this going. The next time I'll probably finish the lower section first, and then we'll go on to either the skin tone. It'll either be the skin tone, the red, or the hat. It's going to be one or two. It's going to be finishing off this, and then probably two of those three sections or whatever will probably be next. Because now I did say I wanted to get that hat, or I wanted to get that red done before I did the skin, because it's going to make life easier on the forearms there, kind of by the elbows. So maybe I'll do that next. I can do that, I can do the skin, and then come back and do hat, because I really do want to get the skin kind of looking right. It's it would be a nice little mental boost to get that done well. I feel like I'm seeing white in here, and once again, I'm not sure if it's a sheen or if it's white. And this does not look like it's a great cut in either, but it will be fine. It will be fine. Actually, this looks like this doesn't look too good at all. Not gonna lie. But it will come together when we get to the next step. Or when I get to the actual camo part of this. Because the camo part is much easier to cut in straight lines and whatnot off of. So once we get there, we're golden. Well, definitely brought life to this, where there was no life before. Definitely brought life to it. Am I still kind of on camera? Yeah, this arrow I don't know where it went. It just disappeared. It just 100% disappeared, but that is okay. All of a sudden I'm going to be very happy that like all the lower leg stuff and all that is just one shade of black. It is going to make things so much easier because I'm going to lose a lot more time than I'm thinking just doing this type of scroll work. I hadn't really thought about this scroll work kind of being done too much before, and yeah, the legs will probably be faster than what I first thought it was going to be, but this is definitely going to take more time in the end than what I had first figured. Okay, that's a sheen I'm looking at. Like I said, sometimes it's just really hard to tell what's white and what's a sheen. That's white up there. White is bad. We don't want that. All right, almost done. Almost in there. Okay, just have the underside here. Do a little reassembly. Just kind of see how it all goes together. Clean off the brush. And yeah, we in there. And then next time we're gonna start with this. We're gonna finish off the first coat of all of this scroll stuff. And like I said, we'll see where I want to go from there. See how I'm feeling. Okay, so got that. So let's do that. Do that right now. She shrunk. She shrunk, and I had plastic. Where's plastic? Plastic's over here. We need to hecka put you back in plastic because we are going to be 100% using that again. This gray was the undercoat to that, so let me keep those two together. Let's clean out this brush. It gives that at least a couple minutes to, or a minute or so to dry before I kind of do a little assembly, and we'll see how we did. See what differences we've made in this last session. Certain sessions will have bigger differences than others. It is the way this works. And that is not going to change. Okay, so didn't need to do anything with this. We can just bloop you right up there. Again, we don't need to throw everything on here. Just popping you on there. Kind of need a head next. Let's get a hat going. And there we go. We have a little bit of progress going. That hat looks so much better now. That hat looks so much better. I can just look at this. I like it. I like it. Yeah, we're on there. Maybe it's going to be worth doing the shirt next. To have something like a big visual difference on here. Well, yeah. Something with a big visual difference I think we're needed. It's either going to be the black down here or the shirt in there. We need something to start taking some of this white out. But yeah, until then, and until next time we get to that point, all I can say is enjoy.